What is going on, Amazon sellers? Welcome back to the weekly show where we share some news and answer your opinions, of course, with a little bit of snark and a side helping of business maxims when we can. For those of you who may be new here, I'm Chris Grant, and normally to my right is my photo dynamogenic co-host Chris Rasick, but he's traveling this week, so you've just got me. This Sunday, we've got a little bit of a shortened show. So if you've got questions, please get them into the chat and we'll chat about those. And also, for those of you who may be new here, our job is to try to make your life a little bit easier as an Amazon seller. Maybe you've got questions about flip and clearance from retail stores. Perhaps you're pondering pulling the trigger on some online arbitrage. Maybe you want to dive into wholesale, or you've just got to keep a quandary. Well, we're here to help. And along the way, we'll share some stats, some news stories, and a business maxim or an aphorism here and there. So I hope you guys are going well. Yeah, Chris is missed. Absolutely. His special brand of snark and opinion is always welcome here. So, and again, if you guys have questions, make sure to drop them. We're going to be running a tight 30-minute show this evening. And we want to answer any questions you guys have. But there is some news, actually some positive news that came out, which is something that we haven't had a ton of recently. It's been a lot of doom and gloom for things like the Amazon not the Amazon Marketplace, the Walmart Marketplace. But we've got some good and interesting news on the Amazon side. Marketplace Pulse just reported that over 100,000 Amazon sellers globally now generate more than $1 million annually in gross merchandise volume or sales. That is up almost double from 2021. So, and that was a special time, a special Amazon era back in 2021. But what's even crazier than that is 235 sellers now do over $100 million a year, which is up from just 50 4 years ago. So kind of crazy numbers, to be quite frank. And this explosion in larger sellers happened while the total number of active sellers dropped around 10%. So, like, the pool of sellers shrank, but the number of people winning on Amazon actually got bigger. Like, this is just a very classic power law in play. Now, for those of us who practice the art and science of arbitrage or wholesale or anything like that, this sort of confirms this kind of two-track Amazon. One, where sellers who stick around are willing to adapt, are willing to scale smart. Well, like, they're still doing well. They're kind of raking it in. And then there are those who don't want to do that and maybe want to play checkers while everyone else is playing chess. They're either getting priced out, they're getting burned out, they're getting squeezed out, whatever it is. Couple of things that are interesting here. There are fewer sellers plus more gross merchandise volume. So there is more of a share for those who can hang around. Traffic per seller is up 31% since 2021, meaning you're actually fighting fewer people for the same or more eyeballs. And this one's interesting. This one's a real big fish kind of problem, but 2% of U.S. sellers now generate over 50% of all revenue. That is kind of a crazy number, like power law on steroids. So if you feel like you've been grinding this out and maybe it's getting a little lonelier, there's a few less people on FBA Twitter or FBA social media. Well, you're right. But on the other hand, that is also the water becoming what they call less of a red ocean. Which is a good thing for those who are willing to stick around. Like, Amazon is no longer this playground. It's not a place to, mess around and play business owner. It it rewards those who treat this like a real business, and it's showing more and more. So, like, you can choose. You can, like I said, you can play checkers or you can play chess, where you're trying to build systems. You're trying to lock in sourcing models. You're having some discipline over your cash flow, and there's some real survivorship bias, and that's okay. Like that, this happens as markets become more mature. So now we talked about some of the big boys, but there's actually a lot of other good news out of this particular article. In 2021, there were 350,000 sellers who hit 100,000 or more. In 2025, that number is up to 522,000. So that number, it didn't quite double, but it went up pretty significantly. Hey, Karen, how's it going? The number of sellers that are doing 500,000 or more, between 500,000 and a million, has gone from 125,000 a year to 185,000 a year. So not quite the growth there as in the 100K plus sellers. And then 1 million we talked about is now went from 60,000 to 101,000. The 5 million plus sellers also just about doubled. So the people doing 5 million or more per year went from 9,500 in 2021 to 17,100 in 2025. And the 10 million to 100 million sellers, that also doubled. It went from 3,300 sellers in 2021 to 7,000 sellers in 2025, which is crazy. So we're just seeing power laws play out here across the spectrum, and it actually, I know that we here on this show are bullish on Amazon, even to the chagrin of some. But I actually think that this is a bull case for Amazon. Now, we do have a bit of a black swan event happening at the moment where Walmart was pedal to the metal on growing their marketplace, and they seem to now be hitting the brakes. And they even expect maybe sales to be down this year, and so I don't know. That should be interesting. Do these numbers shift as people who went all in on Walmart re-diversify back to the Amazon platform? I don't know. So it's if nothing else, it's an interesting time to be an e-commerce seller, specifically on the Amazon marketplace, and how this should play out over the next year or so. And what happens on Walmart, whether they decide to pour a little more fuel on the fire as we go forward, or if this is a permanent change. Who knows? So, yeah, deal, man. I thought this was absolutely interesting. And Marvelin, yeah, your group of 100K or more did absolutely grow. Heck, all of these grew. The 100 million plus sellers going from 50 to 235 is kind of nuts. In such a short period of time. So, uh, yes, Walmart is apparently maybe facing some type of litigation. I don't exactly know, or if that was just legal, really trying to CYA. It's going to be interesting over there for a while. I'm sure they'll figure their way through. I want Walmart to be a legitimate competitor to Amazon. Competition is good. So I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm going to be dancing on the grave of Walmart. That is certainly never going to be the case. I absolutely want to see them compete. So just fascinating. Hey, Matt, what's going on? So, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a short show. We've got one piece of news. Does anybody have questions we can answer for you guys, or I can answer for you guys? Anything I can help with sourcing? Anything I can help with Keepa? Just general knowledge. Drop it in the chat. Would be happy to answer or entertain any questions you guys have this fine Sunday, the end of the work weekend. Yeah, Luke, this is was hoping competition would migrate off of Amazon and that Walmart would give Amazon to live up to. Yeah, I totally hear that, man. I really do want there to be a real competitive marketplace to Amazon. Marvelin, great question here. I heard Keepa sales rank is no longer valid. No, that is not true. Keepa's sales rank did change. Absolutely. Uh, and Amazon changed the way that they report sales rank, specifically where historical sales do count toward the sales rank. However, it is still weighted significantly more that current sales are a factor. And the whole thing is kind of wanting to even out the sales rank over time. Now, why would they do this? I cannot say for sure. But does that mean that Keepa bestseller rank is no longer an indicator of sales velocity? Absolutely not. And we also now have that gold line on Keepa, which is data directly from Amazon, letting us know the historical sales velocity over the last month. 50 plus, 100 plus, 3,000 plus, etc. Um, and so that is helpful, but that's only helpful on about 3.5 million ASINs. Hopefully that gets rolled out to more. But no, sales rank is still a good indicator of velocity. I like to back that up with the recency and frequency of ratings and reviews as well. So it's not just you can't use. Oh, look at that! There's a little cameo from Chris. You definitely see you later, man. Have a safe trip.
Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Uh, so you definitely can use sales rank as an indicator. At what sales volume should you consider pan EU? I think that there is a lot of room in the US marketplace to grow your Amazon business. And so I am not someone who thinks that. Let me give you an example. I know people who do um they're doing 8, 13, and 25 million, and they're not thinking about moving to the EU with their business. Do some of them sell across NARF, the North American Regional Fulfillment? Yeah, absolutely. They'll take those sales, but I don't see any of them shipping things overseas. So I don't know. Personally, I'm not really sure I would even do that if I were, doing wholesale and arbitrage. I don't think that it's necessary. Maybe until you hit that 50 million mark. Deal man, all of our listings still in error compliance status since July 17th. Deal man, I wanna make sure you're talking about that compliance status on Walmart. I want to just double check. I get what you're saying there. Matt, do you think Whatnot will be a major contender compared to Amazon? Uh, no, I don't think so. And maybe I'll be proven wrong on this. I think it's such a different volume. It's such a different marketplace. It's a social shopping network. Now I think they did $1 billion in sales last year. Um, Bear with me just one second. Let me just Google that because oh yeah, so Whatnot hit $2 billion in gross merchandise volume. They're projected to reach 6 billion in 2025. But I really think that they are. I mean, that's going to be. Are people going to grow some cool followings there and sell some cool stuff? Yeah, I just don't see it taking over the Amazon marketplace because you got to be there live for the most part, for at least from what I understand, or that's where most of the sales come from. Um, so I don't know, and the platform is really driven, particularly in categories like trading cards, sports cards, Yeah, maybe women's fashions and sneakers can help there a bit, but um, I don't think people are going to go there looking for that weird shampoo that they want at 7 o'clock in the morning when they run out, or 2 a.m. Okay, so deal man, yeah, Walmart. So I do know of one person that had something like 130 um, of these errors, and they have gotten them all fixed. However, they are 100% brand direct, and it took them about 2 weeks, but they were able to get them fixed. That's like the only person I know. I don't know of any arbitrage sellers who have gotten them fixed. And yeah, I know they blanket comped. I know they comped me out of things in, what did I have? I had health and personal care items up. They got me out of those. So the people I know who have gotten back so far are brand direct. Will Amazon Seller Central deactivate my account for inactivity? I've been with them for a month and have made no sales. If you're paying that $39.99 professional fee, no, they're not going to deactivate your account for inactivity. That's not going to be a problem. But Will, dig in, man. There is the water's warm. There are definitely sales to be made. Pete, what's going on? Or what would you do if you had 5,000 and had to start Amazon all over again? This is a great question. Um, if I were starting Amazon all over again today, but I had the same knowledge that I have, and 5,000 bucks, personally, I would be doing retail arbitrage. It is an absolute grind. However, I think that I could take that $5,000. I could do retail arbitrage, and I would probably do sort of a hybrid model where I'm going in stores, I'm scanning things, I'm finding the winners, I'm listing them merchant fulfilled, and then maybe shipping some, or maybe 50 or 70% of that to FBA if those items don't sell, because I know that I'll get that prime bump, but then shipping out anything I can on my own to increase the velocity of my capital, and turn it into more capital. And that's, yeah, that is, of course, you have the time and the ability, and I have just 5 grand. That's what I'm doing. I am spending as much time as I humanly can in places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, Ollie's, um, some grocery stores, and things like that, and just flipping as fast as I can merchant fulfilled, and then whatever doesn't sell merchant fulfilled, maybe after 3 days, I'm creating a shipment every 3 days or at least twice a week into FBA, to keep that pipeline full. Truth, what is going on? How are the 808 flips going? Great question. So um, it has been a little slow lately because I'm doing the OA challenge. However, I've already broken the mark for July. July's spending, I wanted to get to $100 per day. And at $100 per day, July has April, May, June, July. July has uh, July has 31 days. So at $100 a day, I wanted to spend $3,100 on flips, and I have spent $3,920 on flips so far. So I beat the July goal. I am going to bring this goal back for August, but I am going to live journal it every day because I will not have an OA challenge going on, and dive much deeper into the flips. And we'll do things like, Keepa. Um, of course, we're going to use Flip Alert. We'll do some Keepa stuff and things like that. Uh, but I am happy with where we've gone. Now, This has not been without mistakes. I have made mistakes where I have flipped the purchase price and what my sell price is inside of the software my prep center uses for inbound. And so there have been two items where I've sold them for what I bought them for. However, those are not huge losses. Those were good. Not good. Those were good learning experiences to make sure I don't do it again. And some small losses, probably losses of about $50 in total. Some of the other stuff is already selling at a very nice profit. A couple of the things are like $150, $200 profit per sale. So I've been pretty happy with those. And Brian's got a great thing here. Once you find some RA stuff, you'll get ideas for OA, and you just find opportunities in OA. Absolutely. I think that retail arbitrage and online arbitrage work together like peas and carrots. The only difference is uh the only difference is how you do them. Like they're the exact same. It's just one you're doing behind the safety of your keyboard, the other you're doing out in stores. The biggest upside to retail arbitrage is the fact that you can shake hands and kiss babies. And what I mean by that is you can build relationships with managers. And personally, I've done it before, and I think I would be able to do that again very easily. Like I've never been kicked out of a store, and I've been asked not to buy everything that's on the shelf, but I know that I could start introducing myself, leaving business cards, telling managers what I do, and you do that enough, and you're going to get people to say, "Hey, I got a deal for you," or "Hey, I've got all this. Can you do anything with it?" And it'll be great. Yeah, deal man, you might be able to do something since you source through wholesale distributors, but they are. Walmart has specifically said that they are going to be prioritizing first party and brand owners. So I think you're going to be able to work through it with all of the documents that you need, whether that's CPCs or LOAs or whatever. But I think it's going to take you a little bit longer. What's the cap on Amazon to Amazon, do you think? Like, is it 100K per month possible just A to A? I think you could probably do a couple $1 million a year with Amazon to Amazon flips because you don't have to just buy like a one pair of shoes. You could buy, three here, and then you're going to find some where you can buy across multiple variations. But then there are other pieces of Amazon to Amazon flips. So I have one flip right now, which is buy singles, put them into multi packs, and that is profitable. There's others where you can debundle and buy multi packs and sell them on singles, which is profitable. And I know people who do over $1 million a year. I think in just buying Amazon to Amazon flips. At least know one or two. But I think you could do 100K no problem once you really crack the code. So, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up there. I've got another night of the OA challenge tonight, so we're gonna wrap things up there. But we'll be back on Wednesday for our regularly scheduled program, and we'll answer your guys' questions again. And then next Sunday, we'll be back to our regular hour-long episodes. Okay, let me hit these real quick. Any downsides to Amazon Transparency Program? Brand registered and thinking to do it. The only downside is that if you sign up for the transparency program, you're supposed to put those transparency labels across your entire supply chain, which means if you sell in other places, you've got to put them there too, not just on Amazon. How do you deal hunter? How do you deal with an FBM return after the customer used the tool? I'm guessing returned it after the project was done. You're going to need to follow Amazon's guidelines, but if it's used, then you're going to be able to charge a restock fee. But go look up restock fees and do that. Maybe you might be able to open a case with Amazon about not even getting all of it back. But I would look up restock fees for right now. Are there limits on weight for pallets sent to Amazon FBA? Yes, there are, but I don't know what they are. The number 2,500 comes to mind, but don't quote me on that. If you search LTL inside of Seller Central, you'll be able to find that. Okay. All right. I got to wrap there, guys. I got to run to the OA Challenge, but I'll be back on Wednesday to answer more questions for you guys. Until then, have a great Sunday evening, everybody. I hope you guys crush the week, and I hope something good happens to you. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.